What's up, this is BT. You're watching Only the Beat. Check it out. So this album came about really as this kind of newfound sort of resurgence of love that I have for dance music. You know, there's a period for 5 or 6 years where I just was not hearing music that was inspiring me in electronic dance music. It's really the first time in years, you know, the last 3 or 4 years, where across a broad swath of music, I'm hearing inspiring things everywhere, you know, from drum step to, you know, Moombacore to the trance stuff that's happening right now to incredible down-tempo IDM stuff to neuro. Like there's these incredible subgenres of subgenres coalescing daily, you know? And so this album really reflects this authentic love for what's happening right now in dance music culture. So it's the first time I've ever really done something where every single one of the tracks is kind of, could be played like in a festival, like right off the record, you know what I mean? My records usually, you know, I try to write these songs that are very cutting edge production wise and that are really strong compositions. They're memorable and timeless, stand the test of time, you know? But this is the first time that I've tried to do that and tried to do that in something that sounds specific to, you know, dance music culture. So it's a really exciting and different record for me in many ways. Audio fatigue, that's a great question. You know, honestly, that's tough because now things have become so incredibly loud, you know, that, well, I'll tell you this, honestly, I don't like, if we're gonna talk like technical stuff, I don't like writing music using bus compression. Like, I like thinking about that after the fact and really writing with a tremendous amount of dynamic range. And, you know, if you're thinking for the aesthetic for a club or, you know, big rooms, whatever it is, you're thinking of a sound system for the music to be played on, it is a very different sort of orientation and aesthetic that you're trying to achieve in that kind of environment because amplitude does excite people, right? But when I'm working on music, I don't want to listen to it like that. So whereas many of my fellow producers are, you know, thinking about that during the kind of composing process, that to me is something that I do after the fact. I want the music to breathe and be dynamic, and especially too on an album, I don't want things to be square waved out. It's fine when things are really loud for, you know, a club environment, you know, but that's part of how I combat audio fatigue. And the other part is too, is honestly, I only listen loud, and when I say loud, I mean considerably loud, for bursts of time when I'm mixing drums and bass, you know, and then I like to listen really, not really soft, but at a little bit below a moderate listening level. And I find personally, and it's a personal taste thing, but I find that if I'm excited about something at that volume, that when it's really loud, it's gonna be beyond exciting for me. So if I can get excited about something at soft volume, then I know kind of compositionally I'm headed in the right direction. Absolutely, you know, something that I developed a profound interest in during the course of making this record is called CDP, and it's developed by a gentleman named Trevor Wishart, who's an absolute pioneer in digital signal processing. He's based out of Bath in England, and it's a very small group of people that use what is in effect a programming language, an audio programming DSP language, again called Composer's Desktop Project, colloquially called CDP, right? So this runs in the terminal, it runs in the Mac terminal, or you can run it in the DOS terminal, and they have some iteration of it that has bad UI. It's like people that are too smart to make UIs, you know what I mean? So it runs best in the terminal, and it does some of the most extraordinary digital signal processing I have ever heard in my entire life. The most exotic flavors of granular synthesis, of wavelet time stretching, of convolution, of fast Fourier transform stretches I've ever heard in my entire life. And so this doesn't sound like something I'm just talking about. You can listen to the album version of Must Be the Love, the song that I did with Artie and Nadia Ali, and all of the vocal treatments are done command line in the Mac terminal on CDP of Nadia's voice. And there's one of my favorite opcodes is called Distort Interpolate. I'm going off the geek deep end here. It's like nerdcore. It's called Distort Interpolate, and basically it sort of packets the sound up. It's a type of wave set emission distortion. So it breaks, if you had a sinusoidal wave, it would actually insert silence and leave the DC offset of the wave cycle. You can do it so that it breaks it and that piece is missing, or it breaks it and then it continues on after the break. And these breaks are, a hundredth of a second, or they scale whatever you want to make them. So there's a sound that sounds almost like crinkling paper or potato chips. It's the craziest sound, but it's vocal at the beginning of Must Be the Love. That's the Distort Interpolate opcode done to Nadia Ali's voice. So you can actually check it out. And I used CDP all over this new album. It's got the sort of daunting thing of, you actually have to script things, but the scripting is, honestly, it's very easy. It's easier than C-Sound even, but people I think are intimidated because it's like you open the Mac terminal and you gotta call commands and arguments and stuff. But I swear to God, for anyone watching this, it is so worth the effort as to be mind-boggling. If you're willing to stick with it, the sound output you get from this is stunning. And I mean, like, how I felt when I first played around with Reaktor, or how I felt when I was first playing with Kima, or C-Sound, or Super Collider, or Max MSP, like that kind of stunning. I haven't heard sounds before that come out of this thing. The most important thing is, in music, is to study your craft. As my grandfather used to say, to take the cotton wool out of your ears and put it in your mouth, right? Because if you're not learning, you may as well be dead, right? And to try to be a good person. I'm just gonna leave it at that, honestly. I think that's like the most important thing, especially too with the incredible exponential explosion of EDM in this country, is to remember that there are people that have pioneered this for years, and for us to kind of just, as a community, to pay it forward. My forthcoming album, A Song Across Wires, comes out August 16th this summer. I'm really excited to share it with you guys.